Hey guys, what's going on? Dave and Clint here. We are here today to talk about something we haven't talked about in a long time.
No.
We haven't talked about comic book movies in quite some time.
Yeah.
And we've got two of the biggest trailers in comic book movie history that have landed within the past week. Last week we had Captain America Civil War, and just last night we had Batman vs. Superman. So we wanted to take Batman vs. Superman versus Captain America vs. Iron Man. Kind of compare and contrast the two trailers. Because as similar as these movies are in the grand scheme of things, it's very different. It's so different. And it's kind of interesting.
It is, especially because I feel like this is the second official theatrical trailer for Dawn of Justice. Right. And I feel like the first theatrical trailer that came out during Comic-Con was a little closer to the same sort of darker quality as they're going with this new Civil War trailer, where I was really pleasantly surprised. I might have been the only one, but I loved the beginning of the Batman vs. Superman trailer. That was both like this really cool thing with Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent sort of, not getting along, but also kind of comical with Lex Luthor. I enjoyed that.
Here's my reaction to the whole trailer. I as a trailer, it makes me think that the movie looks pretty dumb. But now I'm more into this movie than I ever have been before. It's weird. Like, it's the kind of dumb that I'm like, oh, this is going to be candy.
For me, I overall love the trailer, but at the end, it kind of took a way, left turn, down a cliff for me.
It felt very, iMovie template trailer, particularly with the music that they're using and everything.
Yeah.
And,
it was standard trailer music for sure.
There are a handful of cool things in there. One, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I'm like, well, that is a choice.
Yeah. It is, and I really like it. I mean, I think it's different. I think the thing is, I love this idea of a Lex Luthor that he's not going to put on a power suit and fight anyone because that's stupid. Because that's for Batman to do. But he, instead he's like this annoying character that is so smart and so rich that you want to strangle him, but you can't.
The other thing that I really liked about it is every other bit of Dawn of Justice that we've gotten so far has been so serious and sober and self-important.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have time for that. But there's actual levity in this.
I cannot wait for Ben Affleck as Batman and Bruce Wayne. I mean, for me, this was the trailer where I was like, I'm sold. He seems amazing. And that scene between him and Cavill in the beginning, where you can just feel the tension between them, I thought that was great. I thought it was really cool. I love the lines from Alfred, you're gonna start a war. And then we hear his Batman voice. It's like, that son of a bitch brought the war to us. For me, I felt like the lines were far better in this trailer than Civil War. I'm excited about this movie with Chris Terrio writing it, and I just felt, for me, the dialogue was interesting. Oh, the part with Lex Luthor and Lois Lane, I thought was amazing. That was so Lex.
See,
that was so Lex. Are you kidding me? Because he's I'm smarter than all of you.
I have the complete opposite reaction to that, because that's, to me, is the biggest difference between Civil War and between Batman vs. Superman. And granted, contextually, it's a little different because Batman and Superman don't have any history whatsoever.
Right, yeah.
But what's going on in Civil War in that trailer is they focus all on the emotional elements of why they're fighting and why it's difficult that they're fighting.
Right.
And that's why this movie, because it's got 10 now movies in the Marvel universe that are leading up to this, now is a good time for them to fight because there are real stakes for this. And in DC and in Batman vs. Superman, they're just talking about these big lofty themes in a very sort of putting their finger on it sort of way. And they're being very literal about what they're talking about. Whereas with the Civil War trailer, I found a lot more interesting the whole Tony, I don't have a choice, he's my friend. He's like, I was too.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
That's where this type of squaring off between these two icons really lands, because there's an emotional investment there too.
Yeah, I understand that, but I also feel like, and I love that line too, don't get me wrong, that part is amazingly powerful, but I also felt like... You can only like one of these trailers. I'm not really worried about anyone on either side, because they're going to pull their punches, because they're all buddies. I feel like they've now built this universe where I don't feel like anyone's invested in fighting one another, but I feel like Batman vs. Superman, Batman's pissed that there's this dude showing up killing and everyone dies. Lex Luthor's pissed that there's this guy showing up. Oh my god, Batman vs. Superman did so many things I love. The fact is, they had the lines that were right. They had the Superman being like, stay down, I could kill you if I wanted to, which is totally true. I don't care how many times. Listen, I've read Dark Knight Returns many times. At the end of the day, Superman could have easily killed Batman at any moment of that. He just let Batman get that far because they're buddies. And they're not buddies yet, and I'm excited about this. Oh, yeah! It's funny, talking about it makes me even more excited about it. But can I tell you two things I didn't like about Dawn of Justice?
I would be shocked to hear that there are at most two things.
Yeah, there's two. There's two. Okay, Number one, I would have loved less of Doomsday. I
would have loved zero Doomsday. That was one of my biggest complaints with this.
Yeah.
Like, every little rumor that has been unconfirmed for this entire run up to the movie coming out was confirmed with this trailer.
Yes.
Like, Doomsday's there.
Yep.
Lex creates him.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that Doomsday looked like garbage.
That's the
Doomsday
problem.
was leftover abomination.
He was the
Incredible Hulk.
That was my moment. See, you know, I grew up right in the prime time of like reading Death of Superman. So I was like, they're doing Doomsday.
Yeah.
And you know, Smallville tried. It was a rubber suit and it was adorable. But you know, I was like, this is like a $400 million movie, right? Like this is gonna look amazing. And he came out and that's the exact same thing I thought. I was like, it's abomination.
Sounds like
and he
T-Rex
looks bad.
also. You know what would have been great is like over his shoulder, like seeing some of his shoulder, like as he walks up and he's like towering over Batman and Superman.
Yeah,
like, that would have been cool.
awesome.
Instead, we get this weird like surfing up through asphalt, snarling out of breath Doomsday, which is like that's really lame.
So that was one. Doomsday I didn't like. Number two, okay, that last shot, right, of in Batman vs Superman with all three of them together, that was supposed to be my moment of like 8-year-old me being like, yeah, jumping up in freeze frame. It's a money shot, and I have never seen such poor compositing in a shot for a major motion picture, certainly in this time period in the 2000s. It's inexcusably bad.
It's the same thing with Doomsday. Like for Zack Snyder, a guy who is traded on being visually really interesting and really crisp. Like this movie doesn't look good.
You look at Civil War, in my opinion, Civil War is a great trailer, but I think they left off on such an exciting shot that I think like that shot is like 50% of what people love about that trailer.
You know, it's a close-up of Captain America just punching.
Yeah, but that wide shot of like Bucky and him just beating down Iron Man, and then he throws the shield and it deflects off Iron Man. Bucky catches it and tosses it back. It's amazing, and that to me is literally the best shot of any of the trailers.
Was there anything in Civil War that surprised you or that you're really excited about? Because the new stuff we got what 9 frames worth of Black Panther.
Yes.
One of the things that I like to see in that sort of airport tarmac fight scene was you can see Scarlet Witch like flying in the background. I thought that was really cool.
That was amazing. Yeah, I mean for me it was Black Panther. I mean his costume looks rad, his fighting looked rad. What little we saw, he appears to be running faster than cars, which is super rad.
I will say, and I'm more jazzed about Civil War than I am about Batman vs Superman. Right. Like I said, Batman vs Superman, I'm kind of giddy about because I think it's gonna be bad enough to be funny. It's gonna have well.
That's such a backhanded compliment. It couldn't
gonna
be more of one.
My prediction is it's not gonna be very good, but there's gonna be levity in it that Man of Steel just didn't have.
Okay.
And I'm gonna enjoy it for that. I honestly was over superhero stuff. Like, it had been out of my brain. Jessica Jones did some to bring it back in there, but it was just out of my world for long enough to where, Ant-Man was fine. It was good.
It was just fine.
It was just a little underwhelming, and I didn't care.
As the months go on, it becomes more and more fun.
More and more fun.
Yeah, because
exactly.
especially after Jessica Jones.
Now that we've got a Civil War trailer, we've got a Batman vs Superman trailer, and they're both good for differing reasons.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm back in.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I think both of these trailers did a really good job of getting me back in the mood for superhero movies.
I agree. I mean, I think there's a lot more stuff that we haven't seen yet in Civil War because this was the first one. Like, we haven't even seen Spider-Man yet, you know.
And I don't think we're going to.
I think we're going to see him in the next trailer.
I bet they're going to do some Spider-Man the way that we wanted them to do Doomsday.
Oh, okay.
I bet there'll just be like a little hint. Like there'll be something.
They're just gonna have a criminal on the web. Yeah.
It'll be like Captain America standing there with a shield, and all of a sudden a web hits it and like yanks it from him or something like that.
Yeah,
like that's I'd like that to stay, because again, my biggest disappointment with this, and this is why I'm giving the win to Civil War in this case. The Batman vs Superman trailer just gave all of it away, unless they're holding something else back.
Everyone keeps on talking about that. I don't think it spoiled that much. I mean, it did show too much of Doomsday, I agree, but we haven't even heard Wonder Woman talk yet. No. We know that Aquaman probably will show up at some point, maybe the Flash. Like, we don't know anything about whether there's a Nightwing. We don't know how much of the backstory is going to have with the Joker. Right. I feel like there's a ton of stuff still left. It's just that, like you said, everything that was rumored has already been sort of confirmed.
Right. I feel like there's a more interesting story at the heart of Civil War, which again is sort of the difference between DC and Marvel for me. I think Marvel takes the time to make the characters people that we care about.
I gotta be honest, I'm more excited for Dawn of Justice. As much as I'm excited for Civil War, I think that, we got a new Batman who seems really interesting. I love they're going the Dark Knight Returns pathway. I love this Superman who is still trying to figure out how to be Superman, and most of the world loves him, but there's a few people who have it out for him. And I just think that, there's these dark themes, and I think it's going to be far better than Man of Steel. I mean, listen, I'm also very excited about Civil War, I really am, but I kind of felt like, I don't know. I feel like Civil War will be, at best, not as good as Winter Soldier.
Much better than Man of Steel and not as good as Winter Soldier. Civil War is still better. All right, everybody. Get down in the comments. Let us know what you think of these two trailers. Which one of these trailers won? Which movie are you most excited about now that we've got a good look at both of these movies? Let us know in the comments below. Click like, subscribe, stick around on CineFix for more movie news. We'll see you next time.